Hello and welcome back to Rugby Geeks. Good to see you. As always, what a weekend of rugby we had. Unbelievable scenes across the two semi-finals. And I thought, you know what? It's Monday lunchtime. We will give it a little cheeky review and talk about how all the things went. So we kicked off with Saracens, Harlequins, the London derby, the game that everybody had their eye on, last year's winners versus pretty much every other year's winners, wasn't it? Saracens only not about last year because they had been relegated to the Championship based on their salary cap shenanigans, but we're not going to dwell on that because today we're going to just talk about the rugby. What an absolute flyer Harlequins got off to as well. First out of the door was Don Brandt. Don Brandt got himself a try 2 minutes in, missed the conversion by Marcus Smith, so it was a 5-0 lead. Then comes back Owen Farrell with a penalty, really sort of showing us Saracens knockout rugby now. Just keep that scoreboard ticking over. Proved really effective come half time. Then Danny Kerr slides in 18 minutes in and Harlequins look absolutely on top and like they're going to run away with this. Followed by the conversion by Marcus Smith makes it 12-3, and all of a sudden we're discussing Harlequins walking over Saracens and strolling into the final. However, that was massively short-lived because about 2 minutes later they looked like they'd completely run out of steam, and Ben Earl goes over for the first of 3 tries on the day. Hat-trick for Ben Earl. Not a great day for kickers all in all, but as Farrell misses the conversion to bring it back within 4. And then a yellow card for Jack Walker. If I remember rightly, this might have been a high tackle. A lot of high tackles got yellow carded across the weekend, and interesting to see referees' new take on yellow cards, the high tackle. At the start of the season, all of those would have been a straight red, without a shadow of a doubt. There would be no question about it. But in fact, they were all downgraded to yellow with some degree of question marks about some of the mitigation. But there we go. It is what it is. I think there was maybe 5 or 6 yellow cards across the weekend. But there we are. That is what it is. And then the floodgates started to open for Saracens. 6 minutes before the half, they take a 3-point lead with a try from Nick Tompkins and a conversion from Owen Farrell. And then straight after half time, from the kickoff, Harlequins spill the ball forwards, and within 2 phases, Ben Earl is in the corner for his second of the day, and things are starting to look a bit shaky for Harlequins. And I remember talking at the time on the stream about, can Harlequins just survive long enough to empty their bench? Well, they never really emptied their bench. They used Joe Gray came on at about 35 minutes. Then Luke Northmore came on the 53rd minute. By then the damage was really starting to be done because Aled Davis had just scored a try to make it 27-12. And they did use 3 subs in between 50 and 60 minutes. But they didn't really utilise their subs. Their last 2 subs came on 74th minute and 78th minute. Harlequins looked like they were struggling physically from about the 20th minute in terms of fitness. I don't know whether this was because of the weather. Saracens had rested a lot of players the week before, whereas Quins had gone pretty much full strength. I don't know, but they certainly weren't the Quins we know and love from about the 20th minute. So no more need be said on that. Anyway, back to the tries. So Elliot Daly then gets a yellow card for a high tackle. For me, the Elliot Daly one, watching it live, was a red card first and foremost. Luke Pearce on the field, trying to downgrade it to a penalty before the TMO tells him to have another look and reconsider. And then off goes Billy Vunipola, again another high tackle. So they're down to 13 men for 5 minutes, and still Harlequins are struggling to breach them defensively. And then in comes Caden Murley for an exquisite try to bring it back to 10. And then Harlequins are starting to believe, but the conversion's missed. On comes Lazowski, who pretty much lasted 5 minutes before he got yellow carded for a high tackle. And then finally the nail in the coffin was Ben Earl going over on the 78th minute to make it 32-17 with a Farrell conversion, 34-17. I don't think the scoreline really reflected the performances, if I'm honest. I thought it was a little bit closer. I think there's probably 10 points in it. I mean, it was still a Saracens easy win, but I think possibly a little bit closer than that scoreline suggested. And I think Harlequins fans can feel a little bit hard done by that result. But it is what it is at the end of the day. And that is all she wrote. So Saracens were the first to roll into the final at the Stonex Stadium as well. Absolute scenes there. The atmosphere was rocking, and we thought that was going to be the atmosphere of the day. Well, no. Welford Road had something to say about that, didn't they? They were not messing about when they turned up for this semi-final. The fans were in fine voice. Now, if you were to compare these two games, this would be... these two games really show us why kick tennis is probably going to cycle out of the game in the next couple of years. It was a very much territory-dominated first half between Leicester and Northampton Saints, whereas Saracens and Quins was very free-flowing. Saracens tried to use the territory game early on, but Quins just wouldn't kick it back to them. So they spent great swathes of the first 20 minutes just defending, and that's so tiring. And yeah, once they'd stopped kicking, they really started to dominate the performance. So possibly an example of where kicking is going to cycle out of the game for a little while. It'll be back. It's always back, as Eddie Jones says. That all of this stuff comes in cycles. Anyway, looking at how this game played out, very nip and tuck in the first half. Just 2 penalties apiece were all that all that was scored. Porter got a yellow card again for a high tackle just on the stroke of half time, and you thought then maybe Northampton are going to start to utilise some of that and edge away, and they did get a try while Porter was off the field, but unfortunately that was all they got. Pretty much after that it all goes it all goes Leicester's way. Sorry, couldn't get my words out then. So after that, Ford gets a try of his own that he converts to bring them back into the lead. And then Dan Bigger goes off injured, which is a massive blow for Saints, as James Grayson comes on and nudges a penalty of his own to retake the lead, but it's only a slender lead at 1 point, and then all of a sudden they concede a penalty that George Ford's able to kick, and then he misses one before Freddie Stewart goes over for a try. Again misses the conversion. It wasn't a great day for kickers out there. Real nervy afternoon for the kickers, and it looked like it showed. But by then it was 21-14, and it was pretty much done and dusted until George Ford put the absolute nail in the coffin, separating the sides by 10 with a drop goal that squeezed over the crossbar, barely made it over the uprights before Northampton Saints really desperately trying to get the ball back and get back up the field and hopefully have enough time to have another go at them. They conceded the penalty and George Ford had 2 minutes to kick it over, so he nudges it, and after the kick-off, I don't even think we had one phase of play. It was just hoofed straight out, and that was all she wrote. So Leicester were the second team to make it into the final. What a week we have next weekend. We will we'll pop out and do a little review, a little preview to the game, see what we think is going to happen. I think it's going to be quite a cagey affair, but we'll come into that in more detail later on in the week. But yeah, those were the two games. Awesome watches, awesome streams as well. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, feel free to do that. You'll be notified when we go live. We are going to be going live a little bit over the summer. We're going to have to slow down on the lives a little bit. We were trying to do 3 or 4 a weekend, but I got a family and they need me as well. So we might have to slow down a little bit on those, but we'll try and get some good lives in. Anyway, that's all from me. I'm waffling. Face down, ass up. That's the way we like to ruck. We'll see you next time.